My name is Stefan Ringbeck. I am from Trina Solar. I am Product Manager for Europe and Africa. And today I want to present Trina Solar, and I also want to speak about how to optimize the system for self-consumption with our products. And the afternoon session is focusing for residential projects. There are some parallels also for commercials or what you can take over. So first, Trina Solar. So Trina Solar is a worldwide operating company. The headquarters is in Guangzhou, China. And also in China we have most of our production facilities. We also go now overseas with our production facilities. So we have a production facility in Malaysia, in Vietnam, in Thailand. And here it's our European headquarters. This is based in Switzerland. And then we have a lot of local offices, for example in the United Kingdom, Germany from Munich, then in Madrid, Spain, Italy, South Africa, Johannesburg, and also Chile is now in the European African region. So that is the region where I work for. What is important to know, so Trina was founded in 1997 and it's now the biggest and one of the biggest PV manufacturers, also PV panel manufacturers in the world. What does make Trina Solar unique? So we are an innovative company, though we invest money to develop new products, investing in new technologies to increase efficiency. Then we have a superior product quality. That means we manage our quality, we check our quality over the whole value chain. We check the incoming material, we check the final product. We are a solution provider. What does it mean, solution provider? Solution provider means that Trina is not only focusing on the PV panel itself. We also started to invest and developing in the inverter section and storage section. That means Trina is building up all the knowledge about the complete PV system. Because as we know, PV system is not only the panel and the inverter, it's also its panel, then you need some mounting solution for installing the PV panels, then you have the inverter, who is then making out of the DC current the AC current, what you can use. Then we are a vertically integrated company. I will later explain what does it mean in our case to be a vertically integrated company and what are their advantages. Trina is a reliable partner because it's also big. That means we are financially strong and bankable, though the bankability is proven by several companies, also by several banks. That means if you have, especially for bigger projects where you need external financing, it's good that we are bankable at almost every bank, because then you get the money on a cheaper price. Now I want to show why Trina Solar is the industry leader. As you can see here, we have started in 2007 with a shipment of 80 megawatt, and we increased the shipment up to 5.7 gigawatt around the world. That's a lot. So only in 2015 we delivered 5.7 gigawatt around the globe to the different regions. And from 2005 to 2015 we shipped totally 15 gigawatt. That's a huge amount. That means we have a lot of experience, because each panel you make or each component you make means that you collect experience because you build it. We also have set several world records. So for example here we have the honey product. The efficiency shown there is on cell level. That means it's a PV cell, and for sure that's done in the lab. And we also develop new processes, advance our processes to achieve higher efficiency levels. And then we also have here, for example, other technologies like IBC. IBC is comparable with sun power, and it's a technology for highest efficiency cell. So what does it mean premium quality? The premium quality, first of all I want to say what does it mean to have the vertical integration. The vertical integration for us means that the raw material, then we cast for example the block for the polycrystalline cells, then this block gets cut into bars, and then out of the bars the wafer gets cut, then we have the single wafer. This wafer gets processed and then we have the PV cells, and the PV cells gets assembled to the module. That means here for the module manufacturing, for the module production, we are vertically integrated because we take a look, or we are have in-house included, starting from the base material to the final product. And we also have a quality management system from the base material in the beginning to the final product at the end, and also further components what are added to build up the module. But for this I will show later. Though here it's also shown the quality management process and control process. So we control each single step from the base material, so for example casting, then making the cells, so for poly and mono, then finalize the cell and then assembling to the module with the foil, junction box, cables, connectors, frame, or then a second glass and frameless. What is also unique for us that we have world-class reliability test lab. It's called State Key Lab. That means our lab, our laboratories, what we have in Trina, it's on a level where we can compete and compare us with, for example, TOV. So we can make all the IEC tests in-house, which gives us also, that means the advantage for us is that we really know what happened inside the product and what happened with the product. Here you can see we make connector tests. That means we pull them, we test them for leakage current and how they behave in a high humidity area. Then we make also a connector plus model reliability. So in connection though we have assembled everything. And then we test it, for example, in damp heat or thermal cycling. And here we also make, we also test different kind of suppliers to see what is the best component to include in our products. We also part and participate in setting up new industry standards. So here are some examples. And here are also some tests what we are making for material and the module. So for example, material, if you have the EVA foil or the foils, we need to test them. We also test them in the damp heat chamber to see the behavior. We test the bypass diodes. We test the encapsulation. We also make UV tests, light soaking tests. Light soaking means that you try to age the cell and then to estimate the behavior after 20 years, 25 years. Here we also make, for example, the UV test, and we also go above. In our test labs, we go beyond the industry standards, so that you really can, that we also really know what's happening in the module and how it behaves, and even if you're operating under more hard conditions than in the test, that we have a successful and reliable and durable product. We also have in our State Key Lab, we can make over 30 in-house tests. So we can make all tests what is required for the certification, for example at TOV or OEL, we can make it in-house. So for example, we have here the wet leakage test, that's a safety test, damp heat test to see the behavior of the complete product. Mechanical load test, that means we apply force on the module to see how it behaves on the wind load, for example. UV test to see how the foil, for example, age and the module itself age under high UV irradiation. Then a very interesting test is the impact testing. That means we have a sandbag. The sandbag is on a pendulum, and then you more like throw the panels on the module, and then you have an impact on the module, and then you see if it's cracked, and if it's cracked, then how it gets cracked. And it's important to know what happened if you have a bigger impact on the module and how it behaved during the impact. And also good interesting test is a hailstone test. The hailstone test is, we have the hailstones. Our products are certified up to 35 millimeter hailstone diameter, and the impact speed is 97 kilometers per hour. And this test will be done on several locations on the module. So we not only test it in the middle, we test it on the cells, we test it close to the frame to see how the module behaves on the different location. And for sure, locations closer to the frame are more hard than in the middle, because the deflection in the middle is easier, can be easier done, because the module it's more flexible, behave for example like a sheet of paper. But if you're in the frames, then the stress inside the glass during the impact is much higher, because the glass cannot move. It's also important to know that we also cooperate with different institutes. For example, here with UL, TOV, we are also listed there. Then we also have local one like the MCS in UK. So we take care that we are globally certified, and then depending on the requirements of the country, also locally. So that we have a really good product quality, and that we can show, yeah, we fulfill everything you need, that you can use the products in your projects. One very important topic, it's also a topic which is very important, for example, for commercial and utility project, is the performance. The performance shows the quality, and the performance is at the end impacting your return of invest, is impacting the payback time, or if you're selling the electricity to the grid, then it's impacting the levelized cost of energy. As you can see here in the upper part, it's a curve, or the chart there shows the production compared to the expected energy. And the more important point is here the performance ratio. Performance ratio means that's the ratio between the irradiation coming from the sun, and then it's collected on the solar cell, and then what's getting fed in. So it can be not 1, because it means 100% of the collected sun energy get transferred to the grid, but we know we have losses everywhere. For example, in the cabling, in the inverter, we have some kind of reflection. Even with all our products have anti-reflecting coating. That means the losses from the reflection are reduced, but it's still something remaining. And all this losses gets summed up, and then we have the performance ratio. And for this project, it's based in Italy. The guaranteed performance ratio is at 81%, and our plant is performing over at 84.1%, and it was installed in 2011. And the time is here, it's done, the analysis is done in March 2015. So during that time, our plant is overperforming. That means for the customer that he has a better performance. That means he gained more energy from the sun. He feeds more energy into the grid. That means he has lower production costs, or he has a shorter payback time. Also about the sensitivity, because we say in the beginning we have started speaking about the product quality, and here I want to show what is a little bit the sensitivity of having a good and premium quality product compared with the cheap product in the lower quality. So here we have an example. So we have here as example a levelized cost of energy of approximately 1.1 rand. That means a system cost of approximately 16 to 17. Location, let's say I think it's roughly Johannesburg. And for example, the operation maintenance, the modular exchange. That means over the lifetime you will always have some kind of, depending on the size, especially for really big projects, you may have models which you need to exchange because maybe something happened during the installation, or maybe something happened during the lifetime. And if you have a good quality, then you also can reduce the levelized cost of energy. But if you have a cheap product because you want to save 1 or 2 cents, then you also can go in the other direction. And if you're not lucky and you have a cheap product in a bad quality and you have a lot of exchanges during the lifetime, then you will increase the levelized cost of energy. Or if you're a residential one, then your payback time increase because you need to invest into a new product. And if you don't need to invest into a new product because you may get it for free, but then you still need somebody going on the roof and exchange it, and that means cost for you, time for you. And even if the module is, for example, completely defective, you also lose the energy because the rest of the string is impacted by the defective module. That means you have downtime, and downtime means no earnings. Although the energy yield, that's the energy what can be collected from the module during a day or during a year, so it's basically kilowatt hours. Here you can have also impact in both directions. So if you have a good product and overperforming, then you can reduce it. But if you have a bad product with a bad performance, then you can also have an impact on the let's say worse side. So you increase the levelized cost of energy, and that's reducing your profit. And the yearly degradation. The yearly degradation, that means our products are have a yearly degradation in the warranty of 0.7%. But if the degradation is lower than expected, then you can reduce it. But if it's higher because you have a bad product, then you also can have an increase in the levelized cost of energy. Later I will go to the Dumax, and there we also have an impact because our Duomax product has a different yearly degradation. So now I want to go to the product overview to give you a brief overview about the products what we are offering from Trina Solar. So first of all, the off-grid module. So it's a very small modules in the power range from 80 to 150 watt. I think the main purpose of these products is, for example, for street lights or for small palms, so where you don't need too much energy. If you have projects which are not grid connected but having a size of, let's say, 5-10 kilowatts, then take standard modules, because then you're safe on the balance of system, and that means also for you lower investment costs. Then we have our honey module. The honey module, that's a polycrystalline module. We offer it now in a power range from 255 to 265. Important to know is that we have several production lines. We have not one line, we have several, due to the size of our company. And our target is that from all our lines we have the same product quality and we have the same power range. So from all our lines we are offering between 255 to 265 watt peak. Then we have the Tallmax. The Tallmax, it's a module with 72 cell compared to the honey with 60 cell. There the size is 1x2 meters, and there the power is between 300 and 320 watt. Then we have the Duomax module. The Duomax module is a glass module. Glass module means compared to standard module. So the standard module, you have the glass, and then you have the frame around, and the back sheet is usually polymer. And the glass module, that means on the back side you also have a glass sheet. That means for the Duomax, the advantage if you have mechanical load and, for example, bending and deflection, for example coming from wind load, that the cells are in the neutral phase because they are in the middle of the sandwich. And if you then bend the modules, you have an extremely low stress level on the cell. That means the risk of having micro cracks with the Duomax is extremely low. And due to having the glass as back sheet, we have in our warranty we have there a degradation of 0.5%, which is lower than for the standard products, and that means it's a profit for you, especially for bigger projects and also for your home, because you after some years you have a higher energy output compared to frame products. We are offering it also at a 60 cell module and a 72 cell module, starting from 250 to 265, and then for the 72 from 300 to 315. Important for you is also to know that this module is certified up to a system voltage of 1500 volt. That means you have an increased string length, which is reducing your balance of system costs. Here we have the example with the warranty. So if you have here the standard product with a yearly degradation of 0.7%, and this is reduced to 0.5%, then we have here the blue curve. That means we have a higher energy output. That means after 30 years, and the impact of having, as if you have a yearly degradation of 0.5% instead of 0.7%, this leads to a higher energy output. And the good point is that this difference is a benefit for you because the levelized cost of energy or the payback time is reduced by 8% because you gain more energy over the product lifetime. And although a difference is that the Duomax performance warranty is for 30 years, so you have a longer lifetime in the warranty compared to a frame module. We also have a high reliability. It's made for harsh conditions, and we also have there a degradation called potential induced degradation. We have here a small graph showing the differences. So that's a conventional module with standard cells and with anti-PID cells. So all our products are coming with anti-PID cells. PID is a potential. That means it's a potential difference between the frame and the cell. And this potential difference leads to a diffusion process. This diffusion process leads to a degradation of the cell. That means a power reduction. So it's also a chemical process. And with the Duomax, due to the glass as backsheet, we have here a reduced effect. So that means the PID effect on the Duomax is only the half of the effect as from an anti-PID module. Then we have Satrina Smart. Satrina Smart is a smart module. Smart module means for us, it's a module which has electronic in the backside, so in the junction box. This electronics makes a module, or gives the modules a higher intelligence. And we are offering this module with a monocrystalline cell because it's more in the premium direction. And we are offering as with black frame and white backsheet, and then as black version with dark cells, black backsheet and black frame. So that's especially for residential application, the black one. We also need to have our aesthetic and homogeneous look of the complete system. What are the advantages of Trina Smart? The advantage of Trina Smart is that you have a saver system with rapid shutdown. That means in case of emergency, the module gets, let's say, shutted or cut it in the junction box. So that means the lines coming from the roof, for example, are voltage free. Then we have online monitoring, so monitoring of each single module. So you see in the web portal how the complete system and each single module behaves. And then we have the optimization. That means the optimization. The optimization means that we have some kind of an MPP tracker, what you know from the inverter, included in the junction box. And each single module gets optimized to its own maximum power point. That means even if you have shaded conditions, so you have one string and part of the string is shaded, then the complete string, that means the unshaded part, is not affected by the shaded module. And the Trina Smart, one of the purpose of Trina Smart is to use it for roofs where you have different orientation or different shading conditions, so that you get out of the more complicated case the most energy. Here we have, for example, a system with, in this case, because it's based in Europe, the roof is orientated to south. So if we take it to here, then this is orientated to north. Then we have the dormer with east-west. And as you can see here, though here the sun is in the evening on the west part. That means the west part is working quite good. But on the dormer, the east part, because it has only diffuse irradiation, is on a lower performance. And here we have now two strings. So we have here one string is the west part and the other one is here the east part. That means because the north roof is still producing much more energy because it has still some direct light compared to the dormer on the east side. That means if you have all the modules connected in one string, the additional power what is delivered by these modules get bypassed via the electronics through these modules. So that means you can also earn this power. And if you have a conventional module which is not optimized, then this power gets lost because the modules with the lower per power, in this case, are limiting the rest of the string. Here we have another example. So here we have an example with different kind of roof orientation, and here we have the same. So here we have a non-optimal oriented system or shaded part, non-shaded part, and if this is connected to one string, then the additional power what gets generated here gets bypassed here. Now I want to speak about the self-consumption. The self-consumption, what does it mean to have self-consumption? Self-consumption means that you try to optimize your system to the customer needs. So you try to optimize the system so that it fits to the load profile from the customer. Here we have a typical load profile for a residential customer in South Africa. So for example, here for the residential one, for sure in the morning, and then especially in the evening and during the day, most of the people are working, though the apartment or house is, although nobody's there, maybe one is cooking, but usually the energy demand during the day is quite low. And then in the evening, because everybody's coming back, then it increases. Here I have made an example. So we have a north-oriented system and an east-west. So the blue one is the north and the orange one is the east-west. Then we have here the hourly values from a PV system simulation. And this shows that during the summer, the east-west system is performing a little bit better than the north-orientated system, and then during the winter season the performance is going down. Though if you have, for example, an apartment or commercial building where you have a lot of air conditioning demand, then you can go for east-west, because during winter the load on the air conditioner is maybe on a low level or not needed, but during the summer you need it. So that means you can also adjust your system based on the load scenarios during the year. That means if you have air conditioning, then you can think about going with an east-west system, so that you collect a lot of energy during the summer months. If you have then a north system, then you see that especially during the winter the performance is higher. That means if you have, for example, some kind of heating system with heat pumps, and you need the energy during the winter for maybe heating the house or producing the warm water, then you can make it north, and then you also have the benefit in the winter that you have a higher performance in the winter. The reason for this is that during the summer we have here in Johannesburg close to 90 degrees, though the sun is extremely high, and though if you have an east-west system, because the slope angle is quite low, then we have direct irradiation. Direct irradiation means that we have the highest performance on the module. And during the winter, because there the sun height is lower, then we have more direct, and we are hitting the module in a better angle. That means the energy production is higher due to the angle of incidence. If you now take a look on the load profile, and what does it mean if you have a load profile without PV and PV. It's only an example. So here the blue curve is the load profile from the customer, and then the orange one is the PV curve. As you can see, the PV system is designed that even during the maximum point it doesn't exceed the demand what is needed in the building. That means you can reduce your energy bill from the blue line, so the area below the blue line, to the area below the gray dotted line, because during the day the consumption from the grid goes down because you're feeding in your own energy from your own PV system, and that means everything what is between the blue curve and the gray curve, that are your savings and can be used for the payback time, and then after the system is completely paid back, then it's your benefit, because that gets removed from your energy bill. Then thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the day here at the show, and if you have to travel back, then have a good and safe travel.